Back to the special Supreme Court.
Yeah.
You've said a couple times that you don't have a problem with people who are justices there having opinions, and that's okay. Can you kind of elaborate a little bit on that? Because there's some pushback, and obviously there are different judicial codes that say if you have a conflict, then
a conflict is different than an opinion, right? I mean, most people have. If you ask, anybody if they're alive and human, they have an opinion about things. That's different than having a conflict, and I think. Anybody that we will appoint will understand that difference, and we'll make sure there's no conflicts.
And what characteristics are you looking for in the people who you're trying to put on that?
I think 2 or 3 things. I mean, obviously, because we're trying to avoid the conflicts, and there's a lot brought up. I mean, we're not going to appoint somebody who's been an appellate judge before. We're trying to get people who have the stature and the legal background to comment on this. And then again, we want people that represent all of Tennessee, so we're trying to have the right geographic mix and race and gender backgrounds there. So to get 5 people who don't have any of the conflicts and meet all that, it's a little easier said than done.
I want to ask you what you thought about the special Supreme Court. I'm not sure how closely you've been following that.
I haven't really. I know the 3 of them resigned. Has even appointed the other 3 yet?
No.
I didn't think so. So.
I asked because you've obviously have a very strong opinion about judicial elections, and that what we're doing right now is unconstitutional, and that's the topic. Here, do you think the governor misstepped in appointing people to that board who sat on
No, just maybe didn't think it through completely as he should have. I mean, that's oversight. All of us do every time. That's not unusual to do that. And I think that obviously they thought initially that they were okay, and then when it was pointed out to them they did sit on the original board, they decided to resign from that board, and we'll figure out where we go here. That's an interesting case. I'll say that. All of us are looking at that closely, and I think obviously that the court is taking it seriously. I mean, let's be right up front. The fact that it was filed by the person it was filed by, maybe some thinking, well, they're not going to take this seriously, but obviously they're taking it very seriously.
And take John J. Hooker seriously.
But I think that I do, but I'm not sure the court does sometimes. Obviously, they've suspended his law license at times when I think there was no need to suspend his law license. I'm not an attorney, but I think it was some retribution there. And I think sometimes they don't take John J. Hooker seriously, and I think he's a very smart legal mind, and that they need to make sure they're listening to what he's saying. And I think apparently they are this time for a change.
Well, the governor keeps saying that you can't stop someone from having an opinion if they're going to serve on this judiciary. That everybody's going to have an opinion, and that he shouldn't have to go out of his way to make sure that he finds someone who doesn't have one. What do you think of that?
Well, there's different than having an opinion. I agree with him on that side, and actually having served on it before and kind of a conflict of interest. You can have opinions without having conflicts of interest. So I think he needs to strive to make sure nobody has conflict of interest. Even that overlaps some, I suppose, at times. But obviously everybody has an opinion. But at the same time, try to avoid conflict of interest when you can.